Officers Jay Campbell and Kirk Lane filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court against myself and my company. The star witness for their side turned out to be none other than Detective John Brown. While under oath, John Brown perjured himself by claiming he'd warned me not to use Campbell or Lane's names in the video. This was a lie. Brown never said not to use their names, and in fact had insisted to me and my staff that they were indeed the primary suspects in the Ives-Henry murders. Both Linda Ives and Gene Duffy concurred with this conclusion and testified in trial that they believed Campbell and Lane were the hands-on killers and that the government was protecting them. It wasn't until a lawsuit was filed against me by Campbell and Lane that John Brown decided to change his story. Before I even knew I was being sued, Brown had met with Campbell and his attorney and had filed a false affidavit stating he had been edited out of context. However, not one instance of Brown being edited out of context could be found. In fact, John Brown had previously given his approval over the content of the finished video, commended my staff a number of times for their work in the video, promoted the video on scores of radio programs, ordered more than 300 copies of the video, which he sold for profit, and used the video as part of an unsuccessful campaign for sheriff. John Brown had succeeded in doing what Dan Harmon, Chuck Banks, and the FBI had done a decade before. That is, to win the trust of Linda Ives, to take charge of the investigation, and then to systematically destroy it. Much of the evidence supporting our case was barred from the courtroom by the judge, including testimony concerning the disappearance of an eyewitness who could identify Campbell and Lane as the killers. Also barred were state police reports describing intimidation and violence by Campbell and Lane against witnesses in other cases. A number of character witnesses testified on behalf of Campbell and Lane, detailing what great guys, caring people, and trusted officers they were. However, as with Dan Harmon before them, these witnesses turned out to be wrong. Following my trial, Campbell was fired by the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department for intimidating and blacklisting fellow officers and for falsifying reports. One of the character witnesses who testified on behalf of Campbell, that is FBI agent Mike Smith, was not allowed to be impeached or cross-examined by our attorney regarding his bias, prejudice, and conflict of interest. Ultimately, the jury was made to feel that they had no choice but to find in favor of the plaintiffs and against us. The judge cited John Brown's testimony as the key factor in upholding the jury's decision.